Hi, my name is Owen and I took part in the Gold Arts Award focusing on digital arts and technology. My completion of the Gold Arts Award was made possible by the course called the Creative Technologist course, which was mentored by the Raspberry Pi Foundation, specifically mentored and organised by Rachel Rains and Ben Natal. Myself and a few other people developed art pieces exclusively using technology during the year that the course was held. In case you don't know, the Raspberry Pi Foundation is a charity founded in 2009 to promote the basic study of computer science skills in schools and are responsible for creating the small credit card sized computer, the Raspberry Pi. Using technology to fulfill the requirements and points needed by the Gold Arts Award was difficult at first, mainly due to the fact that there weren't many examples of technology being used to complete courses like this. I'm hoping that the example of my project and my gold portfolio will encourage people like you to approach your arts awards with a digital mindset. Now, about my project. I know I wanted to involve something about how the body moved in my arts award project. I went through a few ideas before finally settling on a concept which combined my passion for music, technology, and aerial. I was part of a circus when I first joined the course, and so I wanted to encapsulate the movements and actions of an acrobatic to the point where I could generate music and sound depending on what actions that acrobatic took. After brainstorming a few ideas on how I figured this could be done, including help from Joel Lewis from a workshop that the Raspberry Pi Foundation held for us, I decided to have the rope be the sensor that would sense what kind of actions the aerialist would be taking and generate different sounds and music depending on different variables of the performance. The only problem was, I didn't have a great deal of hardware experience when I first joined the course at the beginning of the year. In fact, I had little to no hardware experience. Everything that I had learned up until that point was software coding, creating applications and other such things like that, which was fine. You see, technology is kind of an umbrella term that can mean a great deal of things for different people. Computer hardware is the physical technology that a human being can touch and interact with. This can range from anything from a computer monitor to the motherboard of a computer. Being apt at creating things using hardware would usually mean creating things using this thing here. This is a breadboard, this bottom white bit here. You connect LEDs, you connect wires, you power the whole thing with a Raspberry Pi. It's all very physical. I didn't have much experience with that kind of creating at all. Software, on the other hand, are virtual programs that run on a computer. Things like Microsoft Word, instructions of data, that kind of business. Regardless of what kind of technology you're using, being software or hardware or a mixture of the two, if it's creative, it can be counted for an arts award. In fact, it was through this lack of experience with hardware that allowed me to complete Unit 1, Part A of the Arts Award, which specifies that you need to extend your own arts practice with something new. I took two things that I knew really well, software coding and aerial, and combine them with hardware. I'll talk later about how to properly tackle Unit 1 Part A as easily as possible. When it came to my inexperience with hardware, Raspberry Pi completely sorted it out by giving me a mentor called Paul Hayes. Paul Hayes is such a passionate maker when it comes to technology. He taught me so much that I needed to know in order to develop this Arts Award project, including taking me to the Makerspace in Brighton where we sat for a while and hacked together our first prototype, which is a place where creators can go in order to create things using the equipment that is available to them there. There's the values. And when you touch it, and hold on now, you're getting some deafening noise. Awesome. This just goes to show that with the right mentoring and help, the digital arts can be accessible to anybody you could think of, including a young person with very little technological experience. Doing an internship with Paul Hayes allowed me to complete parts of Unit 1, Part B and C, as I could talk about what I did with my time with Paul, and I could pick his brain when I was with him so I could write about an advanced art practitioner. Another thing that Raspberry Pi helped me with was by giving me meetings with companies and creators that I could talk to about my ideas, such as the Bear Conductive Company, who are based in London, that I could talk to about certain issues that I was having with certain parts of my hardware with my project. I also met Sam Aaron, the creator of Sonic Pi, which was the program that I was using in order to create numbers from the sensors in the rope into sounds. The rest of Unit 1 specified to do outside research and get involved with the surrounding art community. And this is again something that can be done without having to exclude technology. The rest of the Raspberry Pi creative technologists and I went to multiple art galleries which are based around tech, which we wrote about, and as such satisfied the goals of having to do outside research for Unit 1 Part C of the award. I'd like to talk about how I use Google Docs for writing up and evidencing my arts award. Google Docs is kind of like Microsoft Word, but the documents are stored in the cloud, so you can access them from any computer. computer. I found that when it came to creating evidence for the parts of the Arts Award, it was almost better not to start from part A and move through to part D in a linear fashion through Unit 1. This is because when I was working with Paul Hayes, I was satisfying parts of part B and C at the same time. So here are some tips, if you'd like to call them that I feel like would remove some of the confusion if you're going to be working on an Arts Award. Number 1. Structure. Having a good document structure at the very beginning of the Arts Award will mean that you can see what headings you have left as you work your way through it. And it will also mean that you're looking out for pieces of information that might satisfy some of those goals and headings that you have left to complete. Number 2. Non-sequential progress. Like I said earlier, a lot of the things that you're going to need to be creating evidence for happen as you go through the year. Don't be afraid to add some content to a later part that you haven't even started if you think it's relevant, even though you haven't already finished the part that you're currently working on. Number 3. Videos. By using a Google document, you can paste YouTube links straight onto the document showcasing parts of your work. This is how I satisfied all the goals asking me to showcase work on my project. I simply had 5 links showcasing each different stage of my prototypes of my project that the reviewer could simply click on and see. Which leads me on to my next tip. Number 4. Record everything. If you're ever making progress or creating an extra bit for your project, take photos and record it. If you ever sit down with your mentor to discuss certain parts of your project, whip out a voice recorder and record the whole conversation. If anyone posts on social media about your project, screenshot it and use it as content for the feedback of Unit 1 Part A. You'll literally be completing the goals of the Arts Award as you create your project. It's that simple. That's what I would have liked to know when I first started my Arts Award. Hopefully you find some of those tips helpful. If you're wondering how I completed Unit 2 of the Arts Award, basically the rest of the Raspberry Pi creative technologists and I held an arts exhibition at the Raspberry Pi Towers, in which we were all given different roles in order to organise certain parts of the exhibition to make sure the exhibition actually happened. I recorded any conversations we had about the organisation of the exhibition. So that means I could use those conversations in the Arts Award project and made sure to record any feedback anyone had about my specific role so I could use it for Unit 2 Part D. And that is how I completed my Arts Award and the Raspberry Pi Creative Technologies course. It was such a satisfying experience to complete the Arts Award. And I just want to take a second to say, if you're thinking of participating in an Arts Award, I would absolutely suggest using technology even for a little bit or for the whole project. I think a lot of people are scared to mix technology with art because it can seem daunting and complicated, but actually you'll find that it gives you endless, fresh, new directions to take a project. And there's plenty of help online that will be able to help you with any problems that you might have. If you're an advisor for Arts Award, don't be afraid of your young people using technology in their projects. There's nothing to worry about. It's exactly the same as any art in the fact that it requires dedication, practice, and there are thousands of people across the country and globe who would be more than willing to help young creators create something incredible. And that's all I have to say. My name is Owen Daughtery. Thank you very much for listening. Okay.